This is Turd Flinging Monkey for TFM News. I'm going to be responding to an article found in Breitbart by Milo Yiannopoulos called Sex Bots: Why Women Should Panic. Now, for the most part, I thought this article was excellent. In fact, it's the kind of article you would probably expect to see somewhere like Shedding of the Ego. However, there's one part of the article that I take exception with, but we'll get to that in a minute. So what I really love about this article is Milo makes a lot of the points I make in regards to sexual dimorphism and the IQ differences between men and women. And it's kind of refreshing to see someone in the mainstream media not be afraid to point out these obvious differences. Now, he repeats the point that me and others have made previously that men basically tolerate women because we have a higher sex drive. If men can be satisfied sexually, there's really no reason to put up with women's shit, especially modern women with all the baggage and risks they carry. Now, about halfway through the article, he refers to men walking away from women, and he blames feminism and calls it the sexodus. Now, I don't blame him for not being familiar with MGTOW and stuff like that. That's fine. Whatever. I mean, we'll get there. Now, I want to read 3 paragraphs from the article and respond to them because this is the part I take exception with, and these 3 paragraphs appear near the very end of the article. Quote, but, and this is a big but, this apparent shift in favor of men will come at the expense of society and the wider economy. We've already seen in Japan what happens when men and women lose interest in each other. Japan's nationwide sexual dysfunction is at the root of its economy's problems, and it's the reason for the country's cultural implosion too. We'll have it even worse here in the West because Japan is still patriarchal. As a result, society functions. In the West, women are surging ahead in positions of dominance in the media, the arts, academia, politics, you name it. Some people will find this offensive, but matriarchy is a problem for the rest of us. As feminist critic Camelia Paglia so memorably put, if civilization had been left in female hands, we would still be living in grass huts. When men start checking out en masse, as is already happening, you can say goodbye to all of society's best astrophysicists, mathematicians, philosophers, composers, and chess players. Scientific progress will effectively stall because men are just as happy beating a video game as they are solving the riddles of the universe, and they'll take the entertainment option if they have no interest in impressing women. Unquote. The part I really take exception with is the assertion that if men aren't chasing women, if men aren't living their lives to impress women, that will mean the end of scientists and philosophers. Now, I think this comes from the fact that Milo isn't familiar with MGTOW, because if he really was familiar with MGTOW, he would see there's really no shortage of philosophers in MGTOW. And the last thing MGTOW is about is chasing women and impressing women. And yet we have philosophers, we have scientists like Dark Knight, we have doctors like Nico Chosky. We have men who accomplish things and aren't doing it for the sake of getting pussy. MGTOW proves that this is a bad assertion. You don't need men living for women to have men accomplish things. Men will accomplish things because they're passionate about them. The desire to discover new things is intrinsic to the man. It's not because he's trying to get pussy. If a man is just trying to get pussy, he's going to want to become a pro football player or an entertainer or something that pays a lot of money. Philosophers, mathematicians, they don't make a lot of money. Men don't go into these fields because there's a big paycheck at the end. If that were the case, then he would have a point. Maybe they are doing it just for the money, and if they don't need to impress women, if they don't need to live their lives for women, maybe less men would go into those fields. But the fields that have an element of discovery to them, men would still go in. So there's not going to be a shortage of scientists and philosophers. In fact, if men were liberated from being chained to taking care of women, especially women that disrespect them and don't give a shit about them, I think you would find there would be much more men going into the sciences and philosophy because they want to discover things. They want to understand the world around them. Men have a natural instinct to aspire. You even see this in animals that are solitary. They explore, they dominate. I mean, it's in our biology as men. It has nothing to do with having sex and attracting women. Now, other than this one part, like I said, I really like this article. It really kind of repeats a lot of the things we've said around MGTOW. But I just really take exception with this one part. I think that men are the backbone of innovation and discovery, and this would take place even without women, quote-unquote, inspiring or motivating us to achieve greatness. Anyway, this is Turd Flinging Monkey signing off.